Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been some time. The rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. No, Business Elf did not come to life and eat me, Michael Dale, not in the slightest. I have been slightly absent because I have been in the hospital with my dear wife, who gave birth to a healthy little baby boy this Thursday just passed. So yes, it's no, Thursday got 2 weeks ago. Time flies, guys. It really does, especially when everything kind of becomes one day. Before I bring people in and welcome everyone that is new, please do like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out quite a bit. There are two particular bits of business I quickly need to get out of the way as I have been away for some time. I require everyone who is of good moral fiber, if I don't misclick and screw it all up immediately, as I just did, to please click on this link that I am now putting into chat. This is the link to Every Games. These are Dean and Vicky, and they were kind enough to host 3 streams for me to keep the content rolling whilst I was in the hospital. I would very much appreciate people to go in to that link there and give them a subscribe. Let them know the scholar sent you. The second bit of business has to do with the Dungeon Delver, who is in chat. Unfortunately, cannot be on this panel, but I do owe him a little shout out because GWOC, the great underground online gaming convention, is currently happening. I suggest everyone go over to the Dungeon Delvers YouTube channel if you want to get involved with some classic TTRPG goodness, first edition Dungeons and Dragons. Then you can join his Discord server and join in with some good old first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons, as well as some Untold Destiny Basic Edition, I believe. But now that the business parts are out of the way, I do want to go ahead and just give a shout out to my mod team. Thank you very much, Paladin Steve, for that $10 dues and for the welcome back. Much appreciated. But we're not here to talk about me today. We're not here to talk about Every Games or the Dungeon Delver. We are here to talk about that one thing upon the horizon that keeps slipping further beyond the horizon, actually. The Wayward Realms, the promise of Once Lost Games Studio to us all for a spiritual successor to that gem of a game that I was streaming late last night, The Elder Scrolls II, Daggerfall. And I have with me some incredibly special guests that I reached out to through the Once Lost Games Discord, and you guys in the community recommended, pretty much all of these actually, to come with me on this little conversational journey to talk about our dreams and our hopes and our dreads for this particular upcoming title. So without further ado, I think the first person I should probably bring in has been here before. You all know him. You all love him. It's Inter from Interested in Gaming, Inter's Odyssey. How you doing, man? He's muted. It's a good start.
I had my cursor on the wrong spot. Hello, everybody. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. and Little Boy Jack.
It's been a little while since we've had a chat, mate. How have you been?
It is. I've been pretty well. I'm
Good.
going to try to be optimistic today because it's a community setting and I don't want to get too much of a downer.
Well, like I said on our first ever sort of foray together in our Much Ado, is like I always find the way you approach things really interesting, because it's so different to how I approach things. I think I'm quite an abnormal thinker, so I when I find someone such as yourself who can approach something from a direction that I myself would never think about, it is someone that I want to speak to. So don't feel you need to hold your tongue, sir. And in fact, it's a good time for me to say all the opinions expressed here are done in good faith. They are done in an attempt to critique something that we all love, which is, if you are new to the channel, something I do here quite a bit. And I think the next person I should probably bring on, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That was Inter again. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. It's here he is. I like this chap's content, but I think what drew me to him firstly was actually the name. Because as a scholar of lost lore, self-styled, and as the proprietor of the Lost Lore Library, I do have a soft spot for wizards with lore in the title, or wizards with a lore-themed tower. So we have here Chris from Lorespire. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing super fantastic. Love being here. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I've got to say, I like the robe. I was actually just speaking earlier on with the wife about how I have this character that I sometimes use AI to generate. Don't judge me. Of myself with the sort of the gold trim red robe, which is kind of this. I was thinking maybe I should just buy something like that. And here you are turning up.
Yeah, well, I got this for one of my Baldur's Gate character playthroughs like a while back. It's like, it feels like it fits here. And I'd seen the picture of you that I didn't realize that it was AI generated in the robe, and I was like, he's probably going to be in a robe too, So I got to show up with some some game here.
I've got a hood. I've got a red hoodie. Sadly, it's black and red, and not red and gold. But I can do that. So you don't feel so left out.
It's kind of close enough.
No, so you do a lot of Wayward Realms lore, which, to be honest, I found quite handy before I started making Wayward Realms content, especially the deeper lore, the sort of the empires that came out of the main continent. That was interesting to get something on.
Yeah, the history and the timeline. I actually just kind of went back and rewatched that last night, just as a refresher for today's stream in case it came up. And that's one of the best ones, going back to like the beginning,
going into the deepest
and everything. It's great.
It's one of those things. I think that if you can get that niche, you've already cornered it, which is great. Also, look what we've got in the chat. It's the Once Lost Games devs. They're there. They're watching. They're making sure we don't say anything.
All right. Woo!
So, maybe the Once Lost Games devs would like to share this stream. Maybe you in the audience would like to send this stream to a single friend and like it if you haven't already. And let's bring in somebody else. Let's go ahead. Oh, well, we have with us, speaking of Once Lost Games devs, we have an official representative, kind of, sort of, maybe, of Once Lost Games. We have Paladin Joe. How you doing, man?
Hey, Jack, how you doing? Hello, everyone. Congratulations to you and your beautiful wife on the new addition to the family.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So you yourself, you've been on the scene for a long time, far longer than I've been doing this sort of thing. Enter, be nice. But you were doing Elder Scrolls Off the Record back in the day. And you now host the official Wayward Radio over on the Once Lost Games YouTube channel, which is excellently produced, by the way. Always fantastic. There was that one hiccup where the visuals didn't record, and you all had these sort of animated profile pictures, which were really thematic. You should think about bringing those back a little more, because they were very good. I liked those.
I'd like to claim that as my idea, but so we have we work with a videographer who's fantastic, and it was his idea. He's like, "Oh, I've got it, don't worry." And it was a major flub on my part, and he pulled through.
Oh, well, someone always comes along to rescue the day.
That's right.
It's just at first light on the third day, look to the east.
Gandalf.
Well, I'm sure he will come up at some point during the course of this conversation. Let's go ahead and bring in, last but certainly not least, we have Alex from AVV Gaming, who has some incredibly good, slickly edited content and some very insightful views, especially around the Wayward Realms itself. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on. I've been following Wayward Realms for quite some time. I've met Victor. I've followed some work like Joe's, so I'm a massive fan of the game, and obviously I'm as excited as all of us.
Well, you shouldn't thank me. You should thank the Once Lost Games community in the Discord, because until they brought your name up, I didn't know you existed. And I sort of had a little binge of your stuff afterwards, and that's why I said when I emailed you, I was like, I honestly I didn't realize you were a thing until people recommended you to me, and so would you like to come on? And it was fantastic when you sort of said, yeah, let's do this thing, and here we are. The council has been gathered once more. Sometimes I make a little jaunty power metal thing. But before we can get on to things, I need to say thank you for the 10 Canadian dollar dues from Jeff from Denkar. Just wanted to welcome our favorite librarian, the birth of his son, Morgoth Baby Scholar. Just wait till he's 2 and you'll understand. I already understand. From one father to another, congratulations. Thank you very much, Jeffrem. Always glad to have you here, sir. I am going to swap places with Alex just a little bit so I can sort of be special and be set apart from the others down here. Now, chat, if you want to get involved, the best way to do so is with a super chat. However, I'm not begging. I'm just saying that's the best way for me to see things because it highlights it with bells and whistles for me in the sidebar here. If you have something really, really pressing that you want to get asked, but you don't want to do a super chat, feel free to tag one of the moderators in the chat, and they can bring it to my attention that way. But it better be good if you want to do it that way around. I've also just had a message from Delver saying the con isn't until next week, but go and subscribe to him anyway, so you know when it happens. Boys, gentlemen, I think
Possibly.
Possibly. The way I build the icebreaker for this was simply to ask each of you what character you most have on your mind for when we finally set foot on Ijar. You may have seen some months ago, I produced a sort of role play narrative thing over a still image where I explained the political situation developing on the Isle of Ijar with the coming of Lord Godsend and the orcs that were squatting on his rightful land. I myself, just to put it out there, people already know this. I myself am a sucker for playing rangers. I like the strider sort of aesthetic. I like having the single sword, not necessarily a shield. I like the bow. I like the light leather to chain armor sort of style. I like having good survival skills, stealth skills, and dueling skills. That is my sort of character. In fact, when I was playing Oblivion, the character that I most often would re-roll up was an Imperial Ranger who would basically just run around that ring road around the big lake in the center of the map and would clear out bandits and dungeons and goblins and necromancers, and I would live on the waterfront there. And my job was just to role play around that part of the Imperial City and to keep the roads clear. So yes, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to sort of immersing myself into a particular role in society. I'm quite interested in the Bowman's Bastards faction because of this. I think they're going to be right up my alley. But I'd be very interested to know what you guys are most looking forward to playing as your first foray into the archipelago. Chat as well. I can see we've got Omni with sword and board there. Solid Snake wants his axe sharpened and shield ready. Guys, what are you most looking forward to do to playing first in the I nearly said Daggerfall there in the Wayward Realms? We'll start with Inter. We'll go to Alex, and then we'll kind of work our way down, and then we can interrupt each other and have at it. So, Inter, first character.
Mermaid.
Well, that's room I go now.
There we go. No, it's gonna be mage all the way. It's gonna. Well, I don't know. My first character, when I do games like this, my first character is usually something I don't care about because I want to go out into the world and try to understand what the limitations are. So I will make a character I don't care about, go out there, just mess around, crash into things, break stuff, figure out what I'm allowed to do and what I'm not allowed to do, and then I'll go back and make a character that is made in mind with what is possible, what I might get up to. But pretty much whatever character I play, unless I'm deliberately role-playing not to, magic is going to be a part of my build.
So, do you ever go Spellblade, or is it just sort of pure wizard?
Either or, both.
Both. So you just got to have some magic in there.
Yep.
Well, that was nice and short and sweet. Alex?
So I crossed out mermaid now. So when I usually play a game like Oblivion or Skyrim, I'm sort of like the good guy. When I watch Wayward Realms and I see how it's structured, for me, my first playthrough, I'm gonna be a sneaky assassin thief. Everything that I've seen from this game sort of caters towards it. So as soon as I saw them shoot the bow and the light went out to create darkness, I'm like, okay, I can see how that mechanic works. And then it showed them climbing a window, and I was like, okay, I can see how that will work as well. And then how you can pretty much go in every building, how you can traverse. And then my favorite was when I heard that rumors will begin to spread. So I thought, well, this will be pretty interesting if I can just make an absolute ruckus in every town and sort of grade myself afterwards. So I might go through a town and rumors get out, like, there's this thief in this town. I'm like, I messed up. But if no one's heard of me, then I'm a sneaky thief and I've done it correctly. So daggers, bows, dark dress. That's how I'm going to start this one, I think. And it'll be something unique just for Wayward Realms with the way it's structured. And if the police come and I can just sail across the sea.
Unique.
Start again.
Unique. You're describing the stealth archer experience.
Yeah. Yeah, just a stealth archer.
What's a stealth archer?
What's a stealth archer?
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh, right. No, I get it. That's very clever. It wasn't very clever.
It was pretty clever.
We have $5 US dues from Paladin Steve. How about a mermaid?
I will take that.
Brilliant. Actually, I think earlier up I saw. Yeah. So is this your videographer? User followed by a string of letters?
That's what we call them.
Before we go further, Lawspire, perhaps you can answer this question. Michael Dale in chat wants to know, what is the Wayward Realm? So maybe during your answer of what character you're playing, you can enlighten those people who, because I'm sure that out of the 50 people here, people don't know what the Wayward Realms is. They're definitely not all from the Discord. But if you want to tell us in like your own words, what is the Wayward Realms, and then the character you most want to play?
Well, the Wayward Realms is a spiritual successor to Daggerfall. It is a new breed of RPG, planned to be the Grand RPG. All right, it's going to be massive, over 500,000 square kilometers, I believe. The time scale is at 1-to-1 with the real world, which is one of my favorite things. I freaking love that.
That still
absolutely awesome. Yeah, it's great. It's going to be a giant sandbox. Perhaps most importantly, you are not the chosen one. There's no ancient prophecy about you. You basically don't really matter unless you're awesome enough to end up forging your own path and making yourself matter. You might become a hero, but you're not going to be the savior of humanity.
At least not without some hard work.
Yeah, well, you might be the savior of the archipelago, I guess, with enough hard work, but I don't think humanity. Anyways, yeah, it's so much more than that. But I think I'm going to stop there and get into my character creation now. So ogres aren't allowed in, or they're not going to be present in the early access, or at least not as playable race. So, that's a bummer. Whenever the full game comes out, I have like an entire character planned, an ogre seeker with like all these details and specifics that I want. But as for the early access, my first character there, whenever the alpha starts, hopefully, coming this June, is going to be some type of mage with a penchant for thievery or skullduggery, and that's because like I'm so interested in the magic of the Wayward Realms and the way that they're doing everything, the spell creation system, but not just that. But anyways, I want to be able to interact with that. Magic's always kind of my favorite thing to do in games like this, and I think that the Wayward Realms, Once Lost Games, with the Wayward Realms is going to have a pretty unique approach to it, from all that I know of it. And so anxious to interact with all that. Actually, every time I interview them, like no matter what the interview's about, I always have a section where I talk to them about Magic, and they never give me enough information, and then it changes later on and whatever else. But in early access, that won't be an issue. It'll all be right there. I'll have all the information I could want.
At least you remember to ask them about Magic. They usually remind me at the end that I forgot to ask them about Magic.
Yep.
I could never forget about that. I'm sure it annoys them. Sometimes they have to like stop in the middle of the interview and go look through their notes and stuff. And anyways, so yeah, that. But I'm also pretty interested in interacting with the legal system and law breaking, lock picking, sneaking around, the rumor system that Alex mentioned. Like, I want to see how all that works. So, a mage with a penchant for skullduggery, doing some of that kind of stuff, so that I can interact with those systems as well. That's most likely going to be my first character.
Well, that sounds. I don't know. I always, when I was younger, going around the Imperial Cities like my thief type characters, I would just strip shops bare, and then I would feel terrible afterwards. So I stopped playing evil playthroughs of things because it just I feel bad, man. Even if it's not like necessarily evil. I just use the word like in the wrong context again. But
I don't think thieves are evil, but okay.
It still makes me feel bad, man. I've got that guilt complex from my mother, I suppose. Joe, as if I needed to ask.
Yeah, Paladin,
that obvious.
Play?
It's funny because I have a mod in chat who's a good friend of the show, good friend of mine now actually. His name is Paladin Steve, and when I told Paladin Steve that Paladin Joe was moving in, the green-eyed monster came out. Just for the sake of it, what class are you planning to play first?
Well, I do intend on playing a paladin.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, I know. I don't disappoint.
You don't want to subvert those audience expectations.
Not at all. That's not what I do. I'm about as predictable as anything gets. I will say though that so obviously heavy armor, sword and shield is kind of what I'm going to be looking to do. Heavy combat, heavy melee combat. But the magic system in this game is really, really, really cool. And so I'm really looking to get involved in that. But there's no healing magic in the game, so I am looking to use some sort of way to like use magic. So I was thinking, let me take this maybe over to like the Magic the Gathering realm with like the for all my red white players out there in Magic the Gathering, the Boros, who are heavily clad knights for the most part, use melee weapons, but they also use fire magic. So I thought that might be a very interesting interpretation on the paladin archetype, where instead of using healing magic, use the cleansing fire instead. Yeah,
Purifier.
Yeah,
Purifier.
The Sky Legionnaires for the win with Boros.
Yes. Oh, great 3/3 flyer. Love them.
Yep.
I was a Yu-Gi-Oh guy, so I can't speak to Magic the Gathering. It just wasn't very big in my school. Yu-Gi-Oh was though. We have a quick question that I want to address. The Dungeon Delver. By the way, you guys, if you haven't already, you should be subscribing to the Dungeon Delver.
Love that guy. Follow him on YouTube and on X.
There you go. The endorsement.
Big fan for a few years on Dungeon Delver.
Keep stroking the Delver's ego. It's not like it can get any bigger. No, Bill is a good friend, very good friend. Just to answer the question, from what we know of the Wayward Realms modding tools, is we are getting everything. I believe that from the last devlog, we were told that we were basically getting all the tools they use to be able to drop in biomes, NPCs, and all the rest of it into the game. I'm already thinking of different mods that I would like to include into the Wayward Realms. Different full conversions, maybe. They actually in their devlog they had spaceships being shown as they were talking about full conversions, which intrigues me greatly. I like a lot of the Wayward Realms lore as it stands anyway. A lot of Ted Peterson stuff is always very, very interesting. I like the way he does lore and story. By the way, chaps, everyone in the chat, I've got a bit of a cheeky favor. I am coming up on episode 50 of this show, Talking in the Library. And episode 50 is something I think needs a bit of a special episode for. Don't suppose everyone wouldn't mind asking Ted if he'd like to do a one-on-one with me about world building and fictional fantasy writing, because that'd be awesome. But you know, I shan't hold you to that. It would just be really cool. Anyway, yes, we're getting everything as far as I'm concerned. Anything you guys want to say on mods? What you're looking forward to in mods, or you just wanting to get your hands on vanilla first?
There's two things that I definitely want from. I mean, I'm sure I could think of 1,000 if I took the time to do it.
Cheers, Jeffrey.
Two things for sure. First, I want a mod to expand the number of skills that I can have. Because the Ogre Seeker that I was talking about wanting to play before, once 1.0 comes out, is going to be, you know, like highly focused on like a broad array of skills and like learning as much knowledge as possible, stuff like that.
Skill monkey.
So yeah. Well, I mean, that's essentially, yes, it will be, but that's not like the point of the Ogre Seeker. But yeah, would be a skill monkey. But in order to make it fit the flavor that I want, like I'm gonna need more than just like, you know, 12 major and primary skills. You know, like that. So I'm hoping for that. And then another thing is something for necromancy. Hopefully, Once Lost Games will have necromancy as this, you know, awesome art and play style. I really hope so. But it's never happened in like any open world RPG that I've played. So, you know,
there's a big issue
unless
with
Once Lost
necromancy.
Games can get that right, you know, hopefully there'll be some type of a necromancy.
Put a pin in necromancy, because we'll come back to that in a minute. It's a very good point. It's an issue that I have as a dungeon master, is allowing player characters in particular, to be necromancers. But also, just to point out, could be done, you say. I would imagine the answer to Jeffrem's question, I'm not a magic guy, $5 reduce, thank you very much, is yes. Black and green magic, life and death is probably going to be something you could mod in. You can definitely do death magic. I've seen the Death Knights. My wife's favorite hoodie is the Death Knight hoodie from the Wayward Realms merch shop. And then $10 reduce from Steve. Steve, stop giving me money. It's fine, man. But thank you. Necromancy. Are you guys okay to quickly veer off onto necromancy quick? Yeah. Because this is something that I always find a tricky thing to do. I know that Chris Bingley's in chat, another guy who's a content I quite enjoy. Necromancy is one of those things as a writer and as a dungeon master that I struggle to allow protagonists or player characters to interact with too much. What necromancy allows a player to do in this sort of sandbox setting, or in a D&D sandbox campaign that I would run, is it enables them to hoard an otherwise unattainable amount of power. Necromancy can either be done, it can be done one of two ways. One, you do it so that you only have one skeleton following you around, in which case, what's the point? And that's always kind of boring, and people find that very underwhelming for necromancers. Or you can be the Lich King. There's not really any in between for necromancy. I find that the threat and the fantasy of being a necromancer or fending one off is that they have a land of their own, which they have conquered through the use of fell magic, through the use of undead, and through the use of being evil, basically. So it's very difficult to enable a character which should ostensibly be a good character to use necromancy. You can do it. I've seen it done cleverly once, but I often find that necromancers kind of they lean far too much into the evil power fantasy to be something that you could really give to a player who's going to be doing the game loop of quests and reputation building and looting and adventuring. So I'm not sure how well you could have that scale up, but who knows? And I'd be interested in the thoughts of these fine gentlemen here on that as well. Feel free to just jump all over each other. I won't call on anyone straight away.
Jump.
Go on then.
Oh, great. No. Oh, no.
I have thoughts. I'm just trying not to dominate the conversation here, but I will.
Chris is excited. Chris wants to go.
No, I'm going. Jack, can I just quickly ask, are you not including anything to do with like the traditional definition of necromancy? So no, like community.
So that you have
the dead for information?
That's another good point. You have things in Dungeons and Dragons like Speak with Dead, which is a really interesting spell. You get to ask 3 questions of a corpse. Who are you? How'd you die? Blah, blah, blah. And it will answer those 3 questions and then die again. That's brilliant. But otherwise, necromancy, where you sort of summon a spirit to speak to and gain knowledge from, can be quite game breaking, especially when running a campaign from a tabletop perspective. It's got to be handled very carefully, and you've got to have very distinct and difficult things to accomplish for a ritual to take place that would enable a player, in my view, to do that. But I know you and I have different views of magic anyway. I think magic should be very difficult to attain, very hard to come by.
Yeah,
I realize you think the opposite.
Not necessarily,
but I always find that magic tends to skew into being overpowered, and it should. I think magic should be powerful. However, I think to compensate for that, it needs to be incredibly rare. But I would say that the traditional sort of biblical necromancy is one of those things I have less issues with, but it's threatening to a narrative or to an experience in a different sort of way.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to clarify that because the only other thing I thought of was when you said ostensibly good. Immediately, I thought of the anime Corpse Princess or Shikabane Hime. And I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but it's all about some Buddhist monks, or not Buddhist, but good grief, Japan. You know, the monks.
Shinto.
Thank you.
There you go.
Shinto monks who resurrect fighters who are then somehow through some obligation they're in the servitude of the religious order, and their job is to go around banishing demons and whatnot.
This sounds like Shaman King.
Yeah. But that is their thing. Like, they are ostensibly good, but they are basically in the world purely through the monk's magic of basically resurrection and bringing the dead back to life. So that's probably where I would go with it, if at all.
I had a different thought. Why does my character need to be ostensibly good?
Well, I'm coming at this from primarily as a writer and dungeon master. The books and stories that are told through D&D or through fantasy writing is from the point of view of the quote-unquote good guys, right? When it comes to a sandbox like the Wayward Realms, obviously evil characters are going to be a thing. However, the gameplay loop kind of lends itself more to this skullduggery part of evil, from what I can tell. I'm not sure how feasible it will be for you to have your necromancer's tower and an army of hundreds of thousands of undead to go and conquer a world filled with millions of NPCs. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
All right. Well, I think that you're being a little too narrow in your view of necromancy. Like, to be a necromancer, you don't have to have a tower and an army of dead. I mean, you had to start somewhere, right? You have to eventually build up to that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something that happens after centuries, and here I am, 20-year-old, fledgling, necromancer. I'm building up to that.
Just starting out. Entry-level position.
Definitely don't need the tower, the army of undead. And I would think that having the focus, especially with that, your focus pool, your maximum focus pool actually reduces as you cast spells until you rest. Like that could be a natural cap on the number of
I
undead
like
that you
that
could
idea a
have.
lot.
You know, because you could only summon so many before your focus pool was too small to be able to summon more. And maybe then whenever you rest, the undead that you have like decay or something as your focus replenishes. Something like that. Like I'm not in one of the primary philosophies of Once Lost games with the Wayward Realms, you know, is that they don't want anybody to achieve godlike power. They don't want them to be able to destroy entire towns, you know, like with ease or what, or even at all, depending on the size of the town. Like they don't want that, and I believe in that philosophy. So I don't want that for my character either. You know, that's boring. Maybe it's fun for like an hour or whatever, but it's boring as hell. Like, yeah, that's not what I would want from necromancy. I guess is my
You
point.
are entitled to your incorrect opinions. But I agree with you to a certain extent. Hey, it's Victoria. Hello. Thanks for popping in. I agree with you to an extent. I think I have a slight difference of philosophy behind magic, maybe. Maybe that would be a good discussion to have a little bit later on as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just quickly want to say thank you for the super chat for Mr. Christopher Bingley, who is a streamer that people should maybe go and check out. Streams an awful lot. Balancing summoning classes, necromancers, druids, etc. is always difficult. As for antagonists using it, well, should probably chat off stream. Maybe. I don't really consider druids to be summoners, but maybe that's just me. I do like playing druids. Alex, you're right over there, mate.
Yes.
You know, the last time I had to bully Inter into saying things, have I got to switch targets to you?
To give my opinion on it, I think I'd sort of lean. It all comes down to what the developers want to accomplish with it, right? So whether they want it to be a sandbox of literally there are no limits, this is your world, do how you want to do it, or whether they want to have those sort of, as Chris put it, like caps or like control things. I've often found in a video game, the best part is usually, you know, the come up when you're building your way up. And then as soon as you get all powerful, like the magic's sort of gone. It's like, oh, now what? So I think, you know, building your way up, maybe that could be a long-term goal that takes years to acquire. And that's a long-term goal of the character. But if you could do it from the get-go, you know, it could have that effect like you're saying.
I just feel like, I think my main thing is if the cap on summoning skeletons, for example, is, oh, I can have 3 of these before I'm tapped out, it's a little bit underwhelming. And if that's the cap, that's going to be where you have an issue. If the cap then becomes 10 skeletons, you're a little bit overpowered for most encounters. If the cap is 100,000 skeletons, sure, you're living the fantasy, but it's probably going to break everything around it. Who knows how it will take place? I'd be interested to maybe hear Victor explain the creative decisions around this, because we know that they're undead. I wonder, actually, it's probably a good question for Lawspire in a moment. Do we know how undead come about? Is it sort of spontaneously? Are they summoned? You know, that's maybe a question for later. But we haven't heard from Joe. Joe?
Oh, well, Jack, I actually kind of completely agree with your personal opinion on this. From maybe
opinion.
I mean, I definitely think you're onto something there, where you say you either do the traditional thing that we've done 100 times in a bunch of different games, or it gets really out of control. That being said, even though like I personally agree with you, I think from like a design perspective, there is something to be said about having a chance to play something that's, you know, really familiar and a lot of folks are probably going to be looking forward to doing. And I think Chris has got a really good point here on how the magic bars are used in the game, namely that if it's got a guard around the bar, and that guard kind of, you know, goes down a little bit, and then you start dipping into either the health or the magic here. So I do think there's you know, value there in giving players what they hope and want and expect. but my personal opinion is definitely yours, Jack. I completely share that.
Chris, I can't help but think we're being double timed here. You know, there's a little bit of unfaithfulness from this paladin. You know, he's kind of flip flopping a tad.
I think he's just trying to be reasonable.
Well, I'm looking at it from different perspectives. You know, my personal opinion is I wouldn't touch it. Yeah.
I would also just like to say that I think Jack's necromancy power fantasy definitely differs from my own. I'll say that, and I would also say that, you know, summoning the undead or raising, that would be more accurate. Summoning them kind of sucks. Raising the dead, you know, is not the only thing a necromancer should be able to do. They should have, you know, access to a plethora of curses and, you know, like physical manipulation spells to be able to like rot and decay things, stuff like that. So there could be a lot more outside of just, raising the dead.
You know, I'm gonna have to make the next episode a necromancy episode. I think we'll get Chris. We'll get Chris Bingley on this as well. We'll get the two Chris's together, the two necromancers. Once Lost Games has actually just chimed in. You know, we've got them lurking in the background here. Necromancy is planned. The system isn't fully designed. And yet we are very happy to be hearing your thoughts and opinions on it. I think there was another one. We haven't really spoken much, if at all, about our undead and how it works. There are some big differences in our lore when it comes to that, but we don't want to spoil things. So playing coy.
I can spoil a few things if you want, but
before you get to that, 10 Canadian dollar dues. Thank you very much again, Jeffram. Guys, come on. You can just super chat once. It's fine. You don't need to continue. Necromancers are amazing undead hunters. Check out Rift's Hero Necromancers of Mexico classes immune to many vampire powers. I'm going to power themselves with monster body parts. That just reminds me of Godric the Grafted from Elden Ring. I will say, magic is one of those things which can divide quite a bit. But I think we need to sort of steer the conversation back into the theme. That was a bit of a tangent. Do apologize. I'm very, very good at those. We've been talking a lot about hopes. We're all simps, apart from maybe Inter.
Hey,
it's a compliment. What is a dread? This is about hopes, dreams, and dreads. What is a dread that you have got for the Wayward Realms? And I'm going to ask Alex to go first because he's such a polite young man. Although I think he is actually a little bit older than me.
I am. We've established that. So obviously one of the biggest dreads is, can you have such a vast world without losing that depth, that quality? Can the world still manage to feel alive when it's of that scale? I think one of the things that really surprised me recently was the release, if you guys have played the new Crimson Desert. You know, it was a big, large world, like larger than most. And they're like, you know, go explore, create your own path. And, you know, with modern games now, they tend to give you a lot of direction rather than create your own adventure. And the game's done really well because people are making their own adventures. Like, people are adapting to this philosophy. And the Wayward Realms is that times a million. So the only thing is, when we do run into towns, does it feel like a town? When we run into dungeons, does it feel like that dungeon is for this region? This is a unique dungeon to me. You know, does everything feel unique, different lands, or will it feel very repetitive? And that's the big thing, because if it never ends, if you continuously get that little, you know, dopamine burst of like, oh, this is new, you're going to go on forever. And if it doesn't, that's what I would consider a dread, the big fear.
Which we've seen other games trip up on before, especially ones which really want to sort of use the procedural generation. However, I'd say that one of the greatest comeback stories of probably the industry's entire time is No Man's Sky, where they did fail with the procedural generation to start, and then they went through the end goodening process. And all of a sudden, it's a much more playable game. I've got quite a few hours with my little brother just wandering around the galaxy, the universes of No Man's Sky, just doing nothing in particular.
One of my favorite expressions from Alex's videos is "wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle." I very much relate to that. That's a big concern of mine as well.
Well, you may as well jump into.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, I had a short list, but I got to be honest. The whole "wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle" thing is not so much of a concern anymore. I'm not dreading it so much as I'm just sort of on the fence. I'm waiting to be disproven and hopefully delighted to see what is actually out there. I want there to be a lot of variety more so than content. I think I'm okay. I know I criticized this just in this last night's video that I put up on my channel, saying oh, I don't want there to be wide open spaces where there's nothing to do. I'm actually okay with that more so than I am with being given the same thing to do over and over again. I don't want cookie cutter Radiant style quests. I want some genuine diversity in whatever content comes my way. And if it comes away relatively rarely, then I'm okay with that, as long as I feel like I'm getting something special. As long as that, oh, this is new thing that Alex said keeps on happening. That would greatly encourage me. But as far as a dread of my own, I am actually a little bit concerned about the fast travel system. That I think is going to be a make or break thing for a game that is this big. It's a realistically scaled world that I personally have never seen before, because I've not actually gone into Daggerfall myself. And I think they have a lot of options with it. There are a lot of things they could do with it, but I don't know what they're going to do because they haven't shown it in any great detail in a gameplay video or devlog so far as I'm aware. And my concern is, given one of their more recent announcements, you can have encounters while you are fast traveling, and those encounters would be exactly the same types of things that you would get if you were not fast traveling. So what's really the difference? What benefit is there to me in fast traveling other than just hoping on the chance that I don't get an encounter so that I can finally get back to town? Because gosh darn it, I've spent the last 3 hours in this dungeon. It's 11:30 at night. I want to get some supper before I crash into bed, and I just want to get back to town and sell my junk. I don't want to be waylaid on the way back to town. So I'm really hoping the fast travel system is done well. That would be a dread that I have at the moment.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, like you think the simulation aspect might go a tad too far.
Yep.
You see, my hope is that it does go too far.
Mine too. Mine too.
So.
Like, I would rather it have go too far than not far enough.
But again, this is one of the things that Inter is quite good at, throwing these curveballs at me, because a lot of people that play video games, I find myself in a similar situation where I get home from work, I've got maybe an hour or two to play, if that. It's not like teenage Jack where he spends 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. playing video games. Now, especially now with the baby, I've got other stuff to do around the hobbies. So I can see. I don't want to call it a casual gamer argument, Inter, because I don't consider you that, but I can see that being classified as a casual gamer argument, if you understand what I'm saying there.
Yeah.
I understand. However, oh, hey, Meldarth, long time no see. Oh, hi, Mark. I'm not sure I'm too fussed about that, but I do understand the concern. I understand how you feel. Now allow me to do nothing about it.
I will say that if they do go too far with that, I would imagine that a very, very, very early mod somebody creates is just the ability to turn off those encounters.
Yeah, there you go.
So you probably be able to get a mod to fix that if
not do it yourself. From what
it might be
been showing
enough.
us, it's
maybe
they're using sort of these flowchart logic systems.
So I have a follow-up question, if that's okay, Jack.
Yeah.
Because I feel so. Inter, I completely agree with you on this. There are times where I'm in a dungeon, I'm playing an Elder Scrolls game, right? Because I think it's the most applicable thing. So I'm playing an Elder Scrolls game. Maybe it's Daggerfall, maybe it's Skyrim. I'm in a dungeon and it's late. I just want to, sell my stuff and get to bed, right? Would
Because you don't know when you're going to come back to the game, right? It could be
Right.
tomorrow, or it could be the next week, and God forbid if it's the next week, I have no idea what I was just doing.
Right. I completely agree. And depending on my mood, I might be like, I do want to fast travel, but at the same time, I don't want to, I don't want to because I don't want to break that immersion. How do you feel about the game having like a save system where you could just save right there in the game and then be off and do what you got to do around the house? How would you feel about that? Like, is the issue like I'm stuck in the dungeon and I want to just sell my stuff and then get back in here and then log off? Or is it that I'm stuck in the dungeon and I don't have a way of like stepping away from the computer without losing my progress?
No, I'm not. I am no longer concerned about losing progress or anything like that, because I think one of the comments Victor made on the Discord server was that Once Lost Games has no intention of restricting a player's ability to make saves, I think is the way he phrased that. So I believe that we'll have the option to make a save anywhere.
That's a good
but
point.
as I
They're not
rudely
going to
interrupted-
Kingdom Come Deliverance us.
No, we won't have to go back to a bed to sleep. No. But as I interrupted you, Joe, my concern is, well, I don't know what I'm going to be playing again. If I'm finishing a dungeon and I'm not being a very responsible time manager and it's way late at night and I didn't realize that, I want to finish what I'm doing because I'm mentally in that space. I want to finish the journey. I want to finish the quest. I want to finish the experience. I want to get to a stopping point in my mind where the next time I log on, which might be a week from now, might be a month from now, I want to know that I can pick up again without having to decipher what I was doing last time because I've forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So that's my issue.
No, that's I don't know how anyone gets around that one, because I've encountered that a lot of times myself in a game, and it's definitely like, I actually have gotten to the point now where if I'm playing like Daggerfall, I actually have to like point myself in the direction that I want to go to. That's the door I want to try, but it's also 1 o'clock in the morning.
There's a really cool mod that a channel called Span posted about. By the way, Span's a great Daggerfall content creator. I can't go get his link right now, but he does loads of modded playthroughs. He's doing a pirate playthrough right now with real-time sailing and animated water. Fantastic stuff. I have a very good night, Dean. By the way, everyone, I realize Dean is the creator of Untold Destiny. He is also the chap that very, very nicely hosted the show for me for a good long while I was in the hospital with the wife. Please click that link in the chat. I'm going to put it on the screen as well. Go over to Everay Games. Give him a subscribe. You will not find a more worthy couple to support as they create something genuinely fantastic. In fact, one of the things I did in the first devlog breakdown that I released was I compared their game system's wound mechanics to what the Wayward Realms is now implementing, because they're very similar. So if you like the Wayward Realms mechanic stuff, you'll probably enjoy Untold Destiny quite a bit as well. Apologies for interrupting, but I do owe them quite a little bit of thanks for not only for looking after the channel for me, but they came over a few days ago and they brought these massive cottage pies for us. We haven't had time to cook, so that fed us for a weekend.
Nice.
Where was I before I did that? I've completely forgotten. Mods by Span. Look up a mod on the Nexus, called A Piece of Chalk. And it basically lets you put a chalk arrow on the floor or walls of a dungeon. It's quite cool.
That's pretty
Ooh.
cool. That would be extremely helpful in Daggerfall.
It's very cool. I don't have it installed at present, as I'm doing a really vanilla, just ever so slightly altered vanilla run, but it's really cool little addition to the game. I think we should probably get in. You've been really good at staying quiet there, Chris. So maybe you'd want to tell us your dread for the game, if you have any.
I mean, I have many dreads. Some of them dark enough that it would probably shatter fans of the game. So I'm gonna stay away from those because we want to keep people encouraged, and excited. So I'm not gonna go into those very dark, deep pits. But let's see. One of the dreads, maybe my biggest one that I'm willing to share that won't shatter fans, is that the simulation that's going to be going on in the background that simulates, you know, 1,000,000+ NPCs interacting with each other, you know, regularly, you know, day after day after day. You know, you get years of game time, and you're talking about maybe billions of interactions. Anyways, is that will just break the game. You know, that there will be too many interactions,
Safe
too many
bloat.
too many variables. Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about these the way that they interact. The way that they interact, just causing things that can't be predicted. So maybe things aren't where they're supposed to be, or maybe things get destroyed that you didn't think about, or I don't know. Probably things that I can't even imagine. That's what I'm afraid of, like it breaking the game in ways that I can't imagine, because it's just so many interactions between so many NPCs, you know, that it's just not predictable, and that they can't figure that out. So they either have to scale that system back, because that's one of the systems I'm most
Oblivion.
excited for, or you know, they leave it like that, but you never figure it out, and people's games just get randomly broken, and they get bad reviews, and you know, yeah. So yeah, that's a major one. I've got, you know, another one I could share, but yeah, that's a really big one.
Mine's similar. I brought this up in the Devlog 2 breakdown that I did. I worry, and I've got a 3070 12 gigabyte GTX, so I'm fine. But sorry, a 4070, bloody hell. I worry that the amount of tracking of NPCs via video memory is going to be quite taxing. Now, from what they've said, they're doing it quite smoothly. But I honestly, I think the optimization might be trickier than is otherwise being advertised. Not to say that it can't be smoothed out, and not to say that it can't work. I'm more than willing, more than happy to take their word that they can do it quite easily. And that is because my machine will run it quite easily. And I think the Wicked engine, unlike Unreal 5, is more able to be optimized and play ball for this sort of thousands of calculations a second kind of thing. It's also not like it hasn't been done on a different kind of scale before. I'm thinking Crusader Kings 2 and 3, where you have lots of different interactions being done all the time by all NPCs. That can get very laggy towards the end game, where you've got thousands of named characters doing lots of different actions, checking for flags over and over and over again. In Crusader Kings 2, because I'm a bit of an old hand at that, I played it very, very early on, back in like 2011, 2012, whenever it came out. There was a massive problem with the game slowing down in the late game because Byzantine characters had access to castrating their courtiers and their prisoners as a form of punishment. And every day, every Byzantine character would check every courtier and prisoner they had to see if they could castrate someone, and it would bloat the game completely. So I'd be interested to see if Wayward Realms can avoid this sort of similar bloat. When I said save bloat to you, by the way, Chris, if you've ever played, I don't know, a Skyrim before the special edition came out, if you had a runaway piece of script in your game, your save would just break eventually because it would get to a ridiculous file size. And I wonder if that might be an issue that the Wayward Realms could face in the future.
Yeah, I think Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, when it was first released, had a similar problem. A game that I covered, like, yeah, where the file size would just get too big by the time you got, you know, 100+ hours into your playthrough. And yeah, but sorry, go on.
We are indeed avoiding daily castrations, says Once Lost Games. Take it to the bank. Confirmed. Let's Joe, did you have a dread of your own that you wanted to
no, I don't believe I said anything yet on that. So real quick, one thing that I do dread is, even though the game is, you know, incredibly ambitious, we've seen many times in the past, and you know, you brought up a great example, Jack, earlier of
Crusader Kings?
No, No Man's Sky.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I was really interested in and have it. With such a large game, one of the things I wonder and hope for is that they don't miss the details, especially regarding things like combat. And I mean, how many games have we played that were really ambitious in scope, but they forgot to nail down the fine details and like how combat felt. How many games we played that were ambitious, but the combat felt floaty. So it's like little things like that that I dread that it'll go missed because of the ambition of the scope of the game and the ambition behind it. It's very easy to miss those details. So that's one thing that I think about. Like, yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly on that. One of my problems I had with the first devlog, and I want to couch this in that the first devlog was obviously very much about mechanics rather than animation. Is in the gameplay trailer we had from, was it 2 years ago now, a year and a half ago? It's been a while, where you showed the orc being fought with a sword, and you had this good clunk. You had things knocking off each other,
Right in the helmet.
Right in the helmet, or you had collision between weapons, and you had that daggerfall ting 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 sound going off as well. That looked and felt very weighty. And I hope that the Wicked engine is capable of producing something like that, because you're completely right, Joe. If you have a game wherein your main gameplay loop is swinging around a sword, at least for you and I that want to play martial characters like good God-fearing men,
yeah,
you need that to feel good.
Yeah.
Magic it suffers from this as well. One of the only games I've ever played where magic has been done justice in terms of the weightiness of it is probably Dragon's Dogma 1 and 2. Don't know if you guys have played that.
Yeah.
No.
Putting it on my wish list.
Yep.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is something you'd probably quite like, Chris, for being a wizard or a spellcaster. It's very weighty, very... Dragon's Dogma 1 was insane, some of the stuff you could do with magic in that game. It's very Devil May Cry magic, though. Don't expect customization. Just expect big flashing lights and powerful spells.
All right. Well, that can be fun, too.
I think I have that for the Xbox 360.
I had it when it came out.
Yeah,
Played a lot of it. Never completed it because I could never figure out what to do after a certain point. So we've brought down the tone and tenor of the conversation with some dreads.
Did
so
we
let's
hear Alex's dread?
Yeah, is this wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle thing, right?
Oh, I thought that was mine. Okay, no, I just
you piggybacked off that one from him.
There we
Alex,
go.
do you want to go again?
I've lost the plot.
With sorry, what do you want?
You all right there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Just tired over here. And
yeah, it is getting late for us.
Yeah. So that's why I'm a little bit zoned out. But I think what Joe's saying is basically what I'm saying. What I think everybody's saying is like, with scope, just don't forget polish, right? Like, don't bring loads, but nothing's quite done right. So it's like, oh, the magic's okay, combat's okay, this is okay, that's okay. It's like, make sure that, like, polish as much as you can, and the core gameplay experience, that's the main thing, innit? Because if you're going to go around hitting people with a sword, make it sound good, make it look good, because I mean that's the first thing people are going to do, right? Like, when you give a player a giant open world and they got a sword in their hand, the first thing they're going to do is walk up to the first person and just let me test it. And if it doesn't sound right, they might not even go that way. They don't even know.
Yep.
And just in regards to No Man's Sky, I think one of the things I have that is I didn't really, and this is going to be so interesting to see how they handle it. Whenever I talk about Wayward Realms, people always, ask about story. Is there a main story? Is there this? Is there that? Like the Skyrim philosophy where you've always got something to do. It's about sort of striking that balance. Because with No Man's Sky, it was like, just do whatever you want. And some people just, they don't know what to do. They're like, I don't know. So I think integrating that and then the side quests, avoiding the Starfield thing where it's like Radiant. That's why I'm excited to see the Wayward Realms, how it creates a story, creates a character, a specific thing, and keeps that freshness. So again, yeah, I'm agreeing with Joe in a long, drawn-out way. Sorry.
I will say, Camelworks has just been mentioned in chat. I do want to simply say, may he rest in peace.
Indeed.
If people are only just now finding out, I'm not sure how it happened, but Camelworks did recently pass away. So requiescat in pace. May he rest well.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's something that popped up a little while ago, and there was never really any way to bring it up until it got brought up. I have wanted to talk about it, not because I knew him, because his content was always just utterly fantastic. So sorry, Mary. Again, bringing it back up, we'll go on to some hopes, and I'll start us off with a hope, and then we'll maybe, if the chat wants to throw some questions out here for us, they're more than welcome to, and we'll maybe end on a Q&A. My hope is that they do go hard on the simulation. However, I think this is what I want out of the Wayward Realms. This is the dream for me. Is I want to go back to the fantasy of slipping on some mud-stained boots, a weather-stained cloak, putting a rusty sword on my hip and a well-used bow on my back, and trudging off into a rainy valley landscape, and just having what may come along. That's what I want out of this game. I want to be immersed as immersed as I can be. It's why I love fantasy. It's why I read novels. It's why I play video games. It's why I play TTRPGs. I try and build and write about living, breathing worlds that I am just a small part of. I like this idea of a zero to hero story, but also I like this idea of being an unsung hero in the wilderness. Maybe I come across a merchant being attacked by wolves. I don't even approach. The wolves are just dead via arrows and I'm gone. Never seen. That's the kind of story that I would love to tell about my first character, the stalker in the wilderness that guards the weak. That, I think, would be a very, very fun thing to do.
Cool.
I would also say big hope is, story-wise, Alex, the event system, the world event system, is something I find fascinating, because I don't like overarching stories in my video games most of the time. Because I'm quite a critical person, just naturally, of writing, I tend to really struggle to switch that part of my brain off and just enjoy a story. It's a me thing, very much a character flaw of my own. But I like the way that the story is supposed to unfold naturally, and that world events can come along at different intervals depending on the actions of the player or the inactions of the player. One thing that I am planning to do, not as a role play thing, but as a gimmick, as a meme playthrough, is to go straight to, and this is a little bit spoilery, but it was on Wayward Radio, so I'm going to say it here too, plug your ears for the next 5 seconds, is one of the first world events that is supposed to happen is that the king, Basilius of Splendor, is supposed to die, and that kicks off sort of the rest of everything else. I want to run to him and see how long I can keep him alive for, if at all. I think that would be quite fun. It's one thing I always used to do in Oblivion with the Emperor, is fight outside of the room with Glenroy and Boris, because I didn't want the Emperor to die. I wanted to see how long I could keep things going for. But that's just a silly little idea for a playthrough that I had. But those are my hopes. That's what I want out of the Wayward Realms. You know, we'll go up through Joe to Chris, Alex, and then we'll end on Inter for this question. And maybe by then we'll have some questions in the chat. If not, we can always make some of our own up. Joe?
Yeah, with such a tremendous amount of ambition and massive scope, I guess the one thing I'm really hoping for is that I build my good God-fearing knight, and I go out there and help people and get sucked into the world, and really at the end of my gameplay feel like I was the good guy doing good things for good people and killing the bad guys. Like, that's, you know, and I got it in you know, I'm such a big fan of the Elder Scrolls games. I got it in the Elder Scrolls games, and from the ambition behind this game and the scope behind it, it looks like it's going to take that experience I had and just take it to the next level. And that's really what I'm hoping for, is the next level experience here.
Agreed. Chris, sorry, I'm also tired.
Yeah. Well, aside from what I already mentioned with necromancy and magic, the thing that I'm most hopeful for is just an incredibly built world from a lore perspective. I want lore, and more lore. I want
In the name.
Yeah. I want I want to be able to discover the history of the world and how magic exists and why, even if it's not necessarily the true factual reason. Like, I want to be able to discover what I believe it to be, and I want there to be reasons. I want to be able to find information that convinces me that that's what I believe. And I want creation myths. Like, they need creation myths. I love creation myths. Freaking amazing. My favorite video that has come out on the Once Lost Games channel is actually a short of the creation myth for the orcs. And it's amazing. I wish they would do one for each of the races. And hopefully they have more than just this one creation myth for each race, more than one creation myth for the entire world at large. I was a little bit disappointed, though, because I was thinking about that last night, and I went onto the channel, and they seem to have removed that video for some reason. If you're here Once Lost Games, maybe you can respond and let me know what's up with that, because I could not. I spent like half an hour going through every single video, going back and like looking in my notes to like make sure I had the dates right and everything. And it's not there. I went into the announcements on the Discord, not there. Anyways, yeah, just an amazing amount of lore that can give my character a basis to actually believe in things in the world and form an opinion about how things are and why they are that way. Yeah, that's what I'm most hopeful for.
I think the few older videos have gone the way of the dodo, probably because they're no longer representative of what's going on.
That one came at the end of, it came in December of 2024 is when it was released. So not really that old. It was just a month before the Wayward radio started.
About a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
used art assets that were. It's possible it might have used art assets that belong.
I know
to
that there are on some of my earlier Wayward Realms stream content, there are videos that we react to which are no longer available on their channel. Other than that, yep, there we go. Several videos were removed due to a previous artist requesting rights to his works, and we agreed. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Victoria, I would just say that the creation myth y'all had for the orcs was freaking awesome and amazing. Maybe you could just release the text of it so that people can have it. I do have it in my orcish lore video. If anybody wants to look that up, it's like the first 30 seconds of the video. I just repeat the myth, but yeah, maybe y'all should release at least the text for that. It was great. It was great.
I might send my creation story from my own personal world your way to have a gander at. If you like,
I would love that.
So much.
I would love that.
So if I can force my writing on people, I tend to. Alex.
I mean, for me, my answer is quite similar to Joe's. When we look at most open world games, like how you referenced Oblivion, a lot of it is preset. So, if you experience the Thieves Guild quest, so do I. Sort of, it's a similar experience. And what the Wayward Realms offers is something, that's so unique that I'm going to go on an adventure. I'm going to pick a direction and go. The world's going to interact with me. People are going to speak with me. And I might experience something that nobody in this chat right now will experience. Like, it could be that's mine alone, and I think we could all sort of share those sort of things, like the community sharing ideas and stuff. So I think I'm most excited by the limitlessness of it, that there's no break of what could happen in this world, what could happen to you. So that, I'd say.
No, that's fair enough. I will say that sort of spirit that you're invoking there of going and having that different story is a very Daggerfall spirit, because Daggerfall's quest systems, apart from the main quest being as it is, lend themselves to this emergent storytelling. I remember I was playing my short blade wizard a few nights ago, and I was doing a quest to get the Ogma Infinium off of the Daedra Lord, modded quest. And as I was going through the dungeon, my ebony dagger broke and I hadn't got any spell points left. And I had to figure out a way to safely exit the dungeon with no weapon and no spell points. So that is a way that the story sort of emerged from the mechanics of the game. So what you're looking for is just the spiritual successor to Daggerfall, I believe, which is what this is being billed as. Inter, you have the floor as someone who is maybe a little more differently thinking on this. Oh, no, you don't. $20 dues from from Lord Stuck. Thank you very much, sir. It's good to be back. I appreciate the super chat. Inter.
Okay. Well, I think I might have gone a little bit muddled about the difference between hopes and dreams. I made a list of several.
As long as we're ending on a high note.
Okay, can I just run through them really quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sword Art Online convinced me that I need to someday play a game where I can have a completely simulated life. Every aspect of life is simulated in this game, and I want the Wayward Realms to be that, but I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be because they want us to be an adventurer doing quests. Mods, yeah. Next thing is I want to be a mage who can do more than throw fireballs at people. I want magic combat to be mechanically diverse. There are so many things that you can do with magic because just about anything of unrealistic physics can be excused by magic. You can have teleportation. There's so many different things you can do with it. And I want magic to be mechanically diverse. I want to be able to do a bunch of things, even if it's not necessarily powerful. I just want it to be varied and cool. Another thing I want is for the world to take notice of this accomplishment that One Source Games is doing in making a game of this size, this quickly, with so few people, and having such great ambition in it. If it pulls itself off, I want the world to stand up and take notice, because this needs to be a new template that a lot of other games need to emulate.
Oh, it will.
And
Here, sir. Here.
yeah, and I think the final one I'll say for tonight is I really want exploration to be an endless font of desirability. I don't want exploration to get boring. With a world this big, I am going to be exploring nonstop, and I don't want that to feel repetitive ever. I don't know if we'll get it, but I want the sensation of feeling like I've found something that was hand-placed by a human somewhere in some quiet little recess of the world, and probably like 1% of the player base will find this thing. And I just want to feel like I've accomplished something special by finding something strange or unique or hidden. And just, it doesn't have to be an item. It could just be a nice little place, a shady glen with sunlight coming down through a single god ray or something. Just whatever.
You know what? You again into raise points that escape most people, and I think you've been blessed with a mind for that. Because
yeah, we'll say
well
blessed.
done, well said. I did see one question come up, and that was from Pyromancy. It didn't get buried, sir. I did see it. I've got it starred. Will there be underwater exploration? In fact, Inter, one of our much ado's back in the day was about this. We need to do another one of those.
I still want to find the city of Atlantis.
And I said to you then that because of the way the Calamity came about and it kind of sunk things, I would expect there to be. We actually have Victoria just below Byro answering here that it is planned, but it would probably be more after early access.
That's so exciting, though, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so exciting just to hear that right there, because you might.
Yeah, it is.
Where's that going? You know, you got this giant world, and they're like, oh, I might do that too.
I will say one
Yes.
thing that isn't likely going to make it into the game, but will have to be modded in. I created a video. I don't know if you guys watched it. It was speculation about ship-to-ship combat.
Yeah.
I think that does need to be an element of the game because of the way you have the naval authority. You have this massive emphasis on sailing and on the navies of Ijar especially. You need to have some way of boarding or having ship-to-ship spells being fired, or just archers firing from one deck to the other. We have an official Once Lost Games question coming our way. I'm sorry, I'm already spoken for.
Cue the Jeopardy
Every
theme. Come
stream,
on.
he asks, every stream.
You're not wrong. Your EQ, gnomes,
I want
marshmallows.
to give a shout out to Chris for the merch representation there.
Oh yeah, my Wayward
Very
Realms.
cool sign.
Yeah,
Woohoo!
it is freaking awesome. I love it. It's sharp. It's clean. It's awesome. I got a hat that looks really good too. There's a coffee cup that also quite nice. Has the Death Knight on it.
I got
they have some good merch. Go
the
check it
Night
out.
Sky coffee cup,
Oh
but I
yeah.
use it for tea because coffee is gross.
You don't like coffee? Not at
No,
all?
I drink
I'm a
coffee,
proper
but
Englishman.
not in a coffee cup. So.
Look at these tea stains. You think that's from coffee?
Is it Earl Grey?
That's my wife's drink of choice.
Mm.
I drink Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire's the real one, isn't it? That's for
Indeed.
That's
Well,
if someone says to drink Yorkshire, they're a tea connoisseur.
Indeed. Well, my grandfather is the most Yorkshire man to have ever Yorkshired. So
Is that the long bottom leaf of tea, Yorkshire?
basically, the wife. Quick personal story while Once Lost Games does their question. When my wife was, because she's Californian, she came over before we got married for a few months, like a trial run. And I was at work and I asked my grandfather, who was still driving at the time, to pick her up and take her to the post office to collect a parcel. Because she'd ordered something and it hadn't been delivered properly. It was at the post office. He picks her up. She can't understand a word he says because of how thick the Yorkshire accent is. He's this hunched back old man. He's got half a lung to his name. This massive mustache. And he takes her around in his car, doesn't take her to the post office, takes her instead to the supermarket, and makes her buy him some tins of soup that are on offer. And then takes her home. Cheers, Granddad. Cheers. He's still going. He should be dead 1,000 times over, but he's still going.
God bless him.
Still waiting on this question. If that's Victor behind there, he needs to hurry up with his typing. He's like, I have a question for you. And then nothing came through.
I will second my brother in arms, Steve, over there. I will second that. Coffee is Paladin approved.
This is the wife. I'm being told that he also made her buy beans.
If we want to ramble for a moment, I also had a secret fourth category. Instead of hope streams and dreads, I also had a fourth category of what are we grateful for about this game. And I'm just going to start off by saying I think the main thing that attracted this to me in the first place was a video by Alex that let me know the existence of Once Lost Games, or the existence of the Wayward Realms. And the reason I found his video is because I went searching for more news on the Elder Scrolls 6. And I feel like this is going to be the game that I've been waiting for so many years. Too many years.
Oh, that's if the Elder Scrolls 6 actually comes out.
Yeah, if that ever comes. I'd say I'm grateful. If grateful for anything would be the team behind it, because I've met
They've been
people from
fantastic.
Once Lost Games, and they're the nicest people, and like you can hear the passion and the if you wanted a team like you just they deserve all the praise, they deserve all the love, and they deserve this to be a success. I couldn't think of a better team. That's what I'm most grateful for with this project.
Right. Well, we have the question now, but I do want to finish into this fourth category because it is a cool category. And then I'm not going to say I'm not going to say mine because it's just the same as yours, Alex. The team's fantastic. They've been on this channel, they've been on Law Spouts channel, they've been on your channel. They are just brilliant. In fact, we've got basically an honorary member of them on this panel. So it's one of those things that stretches back into the mists of time for this kind of fan base. Especially with Joe sort of doing his older podcasts, I know the name of, I said it earlier, gone completely from my head now. Elder Scrolls Off the Record. It's fantastic. I mean, I like the team a lot, an awful lot.
To kind of expand on that, I agree. The reason that that I believe so much in this game and I'm so excited for it is that I've had so many conversations with the developers so many times, and the way that they talk about it, and the passion that comes from them about it, and the way that they look at things, and whenever you present problems or doubts, the way that they answer that, and you know, they've thought about all of them and they address them. All of this just you know, over all those different conversations that I had at various times about all those different things, like it just kind of built up in me, like they're going to find a way to make this work.
Yeah.
Like they are, you know,
Yeah.
it may
Yeah.
not be 100% the way that they want, but it's going to be like 70, 80, 90, which is still really, really good. And maybe it will be 100, but they're going to make it work because they believe in it too much. Yeah. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And as far as something else, so that we're not all giving the same answer here, something else that I'm grateful for the Wayward Realms for is turning me on to Daggerfall. I never played Daggerfall until I learned about the Wayward Realms, and
Daggerfall's a
now
great
I
game.
play it all the time.
Same.
It's an awesome game. I love it. So yeah, I just wanted to throw something different out there. I'm grateful for that.
Joe.
There's a lot to be grateful for between the project itself, the people behind it, but you know, working so hard and really, like, you got to be. These folks are really cutting their teeth on this project. 90% of them are not getting paid. And 90%
Pure passion.
100% pure passion. I mean, these guys are flipping rock stars, man.
Yeah.
For their heart, but right alongside them is the community. You know, I appreciate you, Jack, saying you know, mentioning the older podcast I used to do, Elder Scrolls Off the Record. There has been a lot of folks in that community that, you know, would. I mean, it's a very big community, so there's good people and bad people and everything, but you would. You know, I would hear personally a lot of whining about certain stuff, and it would blow my mind over what people would really whine about. And and I don't know if maybe, like, you know, gamers just kind of got a little older these days and just sort of you know, kind of have grown up since then, but you haven't really heard anything like that at all whatsoever in the Wayward Realms community. You know, there was a major opportunity for this community to, you know, really overreact in a negative way when Once Lost Games announced that they're going to hold things back and they're changing the engine. And everyone understood there was a huge positive pushback saying, thank God you dumped that engine. But even the folks that were, you know, critical of it said, you know, they just handled it in such a really mature way. And I am so grateful for the mindset that this community has, which is we're in it for the long run. Or more power to you guys, and we're all in it together. And whether you agree or disagree with the move, like, that's the lens that everyone in this community really kind of views this game, this project, which is, I'm in it for the long haul, hoping for the best. Maybe this one thing isn't going to go my way, but ultimately it looks like it's still going to be fantastic. And that's why I'm really grateful for that too.
That's a nice one. I like that one. I mean, I myself, just to put another different one out there, I'm grateful for the fact that my channel got a massive boost from this. But as much as I say, I talk about fantasy, I talk about writing, story mechanics, D&D, those videos don't get nearly as much attention as the Wayward Realm stuff. So and just the deigning of Victor and co to sort of descend from the ivory tower to speak with us is fantastic. I think that's one of the reasons the community is so behind them, is because they're sort of down in the trenches. Right, let's get a move on. So there's another thing else. I want to quickly, with another little quick anecdote. Solid Snack. You have to brew a full pot of coffee and drink it black and hot straight from the pot first thing every morning. I make no secret of the fact that I am Catholic, And I used to, every year for my birthday, I would spend a week at a monastery. And I met a monk once. His name was Brother Thomas. And he he once said, with a gleam in his eyes, this is an 80-year-old man in a habit with a really black cup of coffee in his hand. He said, I am of the opinion that coffee should be black as night and sweet as sin. Like, you're a monk. So thank you for reminding me of Brother Thomas, because he was a fantastic lad.
God
That's
bless.
pretty great.
That's awesome.
So the question has come through. I would also want to have a quick shout out to Mary in chat. I've not seen her around before, but she's been very active. So welcome, Mary. Please do stick around. Sorry, my browser crashed. Likely story. Whoever's behind that, I think it might be Victor. Question. What is one feature you guys would add if you had the ability to? Sky is the limit. We'll make this our final foray, because this is a big one. This is a doozy. I'm going to start, because I've already said it. I think ship-to-ship combat in some way, shape, or form is a necessary feature for this game. Because it is the archipelago, I know the map has a large landmass as well, but I think naval warfare should be a big concern of Xi'an Splendor, at the very least, those two kingdoms. They that control the sea, control the trade, and have the wealth to pay the troops. So I think naval warfare in some way, shape, or form needs to be, if not on screen, referenced in the world building quite a bit, and have at least the ability to have small skirmishes in and about the water because of pirates and sea monsters and all the rest of it. That is basically, it's something that it's a rod for your own back when you set something like this with a water-based landmass. Navy will reign supreme. Take it from an Englishman. You know, Britain rules the waves. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Navy is important. That's my thing. Sky's the limit. The battles would be on screen, both land and naval, and would be glorious to behold. But we'll see how well we do with rumor tracking first. We'll start with Inter, and then we'll go through to Joe.
Okay. I'm gonna cheat a little bit and give two, because Victoria already shot down.
Don.
Victoria already shot this one down when she was answering someone's question in chat earlier. She said that they will have levitation spells but no flying. Well, sky is the limit. I would very much like to have flying. That's my number one. But if that is not able to happen, and if the player is not able to transform into something that can fly, then my second feature that I would add is the ability to have finally commandable party members. They've been talking about followers being in your party at some point. Not in early access, certainly not in version 1 early access, but eventually you will have followers who can assist you and come around with you. And sneak preview, this is actually going to be the topic of my next IIG episode coming out next week. I very much believe in... Yeah, shameless plug. I very much believe in having party members that assist you in combat with equal efficacy to the player. And I think that comes from having the player, or giving the player rather, discrete control over whatever the people are able to do, but also letting your followers have autonomy so they can take care of themselves if you're too busy with something else. And you just it's a force multiplier. I really believe in having team tactics parties. So that would be something I'd like to have.
Can I recommend a game to you, Inter?
Please do. I've
only dabbled in it myself. It was actually a birthday present from Paladin Steve. It's called Bellwright on Steam.
Okay, I think I've heard of it.
It's like a Mountain Blade style game, but it's all persistent world. I've only dabbled with it a little bit myself, but its follower system is something that I think you'll appreciate.
Cool.
Bellwright is...
with a W?
With a W, yes.
Yep, okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, Alex.
I'm going to cheat a little bit. I just got two. First of all, in a game this big, it's really hard to ask for more. You know what I mean? Like to say, well, you know, it's 20 more things. But the two things I would say is, number one, towns that leave an impression. You know, like a town where you walk into, like I forget the name of it. Markov, I think it is, or one of those in Skyrim. You know, with the waterfalls and
Yeah, Markov.
Yeah, and there's the murder as soon as you walk in.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but that left an impression. It was you know, towns like that, like, you know, that really stand out. And the other thing is, I'm a sucker for immersive things. I love Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2, games where you can sleep, cook food, eat, own a home, decorate. All that stuff is like, that's the, you know, makes you feel cozy in a game. So anything there really. So, you know, if they've got 8 things and there's a 9th, I would go for that. But to be honest, the game offers so much, I don't really want to ask for too much more. You know what I mean? I'm happy as long as it comes out polished. That's the big thing.
Very reasonable. Chris.
So I think I'm going to go with you should be able to get like your own house, right? They've talked about that.
Oh, it's a Daggerfall thing.
Yeah. So you should be able to get your own house, but I want more than just like a house that that I can live in, rest at, whatever. I have a box where I can store some stuff. Like I want to be able to make a pretty large house, and I want to have like actual like display areas where I can display all of the items that I've gotten on my adventures, like special items, you know, and I want to have the ability to even like open up a dialogue window and type into there, like type the story behind it, you know, and it could almost be like,
cool.
like a little plaque or something, you know, that's under the display case that like tells the story of like how I got that or whatever it is that I want to tell about that item. And as an extension, like I would love to be able to like engrave items as well, like engrave my shield or my armor or my weapons, stuff like that.
Cool.
So yeah, that's
cool.
That's a feature that I would really like to have. Also, well, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say one thing that more games need to do is manual journals, where you open up a notepad which is inside the game and be able to write your own journal entries.
I think they're planning that, right? Or they were at one point.
It's ringing a bell, right? But I'm not sure. My brain's mush.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I think they said they were planning it or at least considering it. I don't know. They're here, so maybe they'll chime in a second.
Before we get on to... Sorry, do you have one more thing you wanted to say? I interrupted you a little bit.
I was just going to say, also, you know, as a sky's the limit kind of thing, non-conventional mounts. We know flying's not a thing, so not flying mounts, but what if I could, you know, mount a sea monster and ride it around or something?
What if I could fly underwater?
There you go.
Instead of having a ship, you know, like, yeah, like
I have
that
a
would be
dragon
cool.
turtle.
I love it. Yeah, dragon turtle dragon.
I will say, just because he's using his 7-month membership at the Law Sworn level, thank you very much, AGP. NPCs who portray your character based upon hidden goals and motives created through their AI persona is cool. Is very cool. I like that idea, but I am a masochist.
I agree. Yeah.
Joe.
Holy magic.
There you go.
Give me healing, damn it.
It doesn't even need
I
to be
approve.
healing. It doesn't even need to, like, I can understand they don't want to do the healing thing. All right, so, but I still want holy magic. You know, I'm by myself. I'm in a dungeon. I got a swarm of zombies coming after me. I want to hold up my holy symbol and ward them off.
Turn undead.
Exactly.
Nice.
Man. Like, give me healing magic. Let me tap into the holiness of my deity to use
Come on, Eos
champion and bring forth, you know, the holy light into the world. Like, let me do that in some way. I want holy magic.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I like how short and sweet that one was, and just how everyone was like, "Yes,
yes."
That's what I want. Yes, Mike.
Chaps, we have been going for nearly 2 hours. I know that we need to start wrapping up. Thank you very much to everyone that turned up. Please do like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you haven't already. In the description, I have linked every single one of these chaps. You can also go and find everyone on various social platforms through these usernames as well. We're all in the Discord, the Wayward Realms Discord. So if you want to grab one of us, you can tag one of us in maybe the Wayward Realms discussion. I'd like to do another one of these, maybe a little bit before early access drops. And we'll see what we can pull out the hat. I think, Chris, if you're around the same time next week and you want to do a Necromancy episode, we can do a Necromancy episode. that's something I'd find quite intriguing. But we will see. We will see. For now, everyone, thank you very much for coming. Do, as I say, like, subscribe, and things. Anything you guys want to do before I get us gone?
Just want to say thank you, Jack, for putting this together. This was awesome.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, definitely. Come on, play it the awkward. All right, I was just gonna say thanks as well. Also, go get your Wayward Realms merch right here. Support the project, and you can still back on Kickstarter.com/The Wayward Realms as a late backer. Get your access to the alpha coming out this summer.
That's very true. I'm going to repeat that just a little bit because you sounded like you were coming from underwater on your obscure mount there. He said, go and check out the Once Lost Games website. Go to get the merch store. You can also still back on Kickstarter to get access to the early access drop when it happens in June. Fingers crossed. It better be June. Our patience doesn't hold forever. The necromancers are right there. They'll come for you. I won't help. No, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Do go and check out all the people that have been kind enough to join me here today. Alex, thank you very much for coming, sir. Go and get yourself some sleep. I'm going to do the same if the baby lets me. Inter, lovely to speak to you again. Chris, lovely to meet you. And Joe, it has been fantastic to have such an esteemed member of the community with us today. Other than that, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Safe and which to quell. Oh, Jack the Keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in tabards green and white protect the halls both day and night. Some say he's lived 1,000 years, some say he's conquered all his fears, some say he was a king dethroned who chose this quiet life alone, but none can say for certain true what Jack has seen or Jack has done through. If you should find the hidden door and cross the threshold to the floor of polished oak and Persian rock, speak soft and low, be not a thug, for Jack will test your heart's intent before you see where knowledge went. Oh, Jack the Keeper, wise and old, with silver tongue and heart of gold, he tends the books of days gone by beneath the ever-watchful sky, and knights in tabards green and white protect the lost law library's light. The lost law library stands still beyond the moorland and the hill, where Jack keeps watch forever.